What keeps me going is that the children that we save is really want to fight. And the idea that there are more children there waiting to be saved really keeps me going every day.
As I say, you've been doing this for a long time. What is the biggest challenge you have found, the biggest challenge you face in this fight?
Well, the biggest challenge is that there are a lot of people who wants to stop me for doing this. There are a lot of, underground criminals that wants to close up our office and to stop for saving these girls. And for me, that's the greatest challenge that I face every day in my life.
And what kind of things have they done to try and make life difficult for you?
Well, they send, they send threats, they send death threats, they destroy your reputation, they discourage you to continue your work. But for me, this is my life, this is the air that I breathe, and I keep fighting until the last drop of my life.
But it's not just you, because you have children as well. You're a mother as well as this fighter. Do you ever worry for your own personal safety and the safety of your children?
Well, actually, fear comes to me in the early stage when I do my work. I think the first time that I really feel scared is the first time that I get my death threats. And after that, when I cross the bridge and said that this is my life and I want to continue to fight, and everything is just gone and focus on saving the girls.
We saw in the documentary that you teamed up with boxer Manny Pacquiao to take the fight to a different level.
Yes.
What difference has that made to your efforts?
It has a lot of impact because Manny Pacquiao has helped me to create a legislation that definitely change the regulations, that change the policy, to change the program of the government. And for me, as an NGO, that's really the purpose of everything, because as an NGO, what we're doing is just to catalyze change. But at the end of the day, it's really the government need to sustain and to create that huge impact and scale up the effort that we started.
And do you feel the Philippine government has really come to grips with the problem they have there within their borders? How committed are they? I know they passed the legislation, but you can pass the legislation. Where's the will? Do you feel there's the will?
There are still a lot of challenges, but I feel that they're trying their best to answer the problem, to respond to the problem. There are still a lot of things that we need to be done together, not only by the government, but the whole society itself, the whole Filipino, to understand how vulnerable Filipinos are to human trafficking and slavery, especially that our people is a main source of migrants all over the world. But I see changes in the government. Political will, I think we're going there.
The film brought home the impact this has on the victims, the survivors.
Yes.
And we saw 3 young girls in the film that told of their horrific abuse for cyber sex, effectively. Talk to me about how difficult it is, or what the journey is like to rehabilitate these women and girls.
Well, it takes time for healing because the trauma that they undergo is so deep that it takes time for them even to express it. And I'm really glad that during the filming of the Freedom Project, that's the first time that they actually opened themselves. And it's also surprised me. And that's only the time that I understand how deep these girls actually undergo and how their experience really unacceptable, even for me as a mother. As of now, they are really becoming very strong. They become really fine, happy, beautiful girls. They look forward for a brighter future. And they are really committed also to fight in order to save other girls. And eventually they become also advocates of the issue. In fact, one of the girls is one of the jurors to select a global champion for children. And she's attending Sweden every year to judge and select a hero for children.
Which is fantastic news. And you know, people here in the United States will hear that she is going forward with her life in a positive way, and they'll be so encouraged because you know here in the United States the big story right now, the 3 girls that were found in Ohio having been trapped in a house for almost 10 years. They were used as sex slaves, allegedly by a man in custody now, Ariel Castro. What advice would you have for those who are working with these girls to help them rehabilitate them? What is your advice as someone who's done that work?
Well, for us who are actually helping the girls to rehabilitate is that it takes time. It takes a lot of patience. And what the girls needs is really love and understanding. Sometimes it tends for us not really to understand what's going on, but see deeper in the person. And for me, the only solution to this problem and to their trauma is really giving them love, accept them who they are, and make them understand there is a brighter future ahead for them.
If you could affect one thing, if you could do one thing that you think would have the greatest impact in your fight, if you had it within your power, what would it be?
I would like to gather all the slave traders and the trafficker and put them in jail.